I see the role as a coach is to set an environment where people are comfortable losing. And for young males, that's difficult. If you get a group of young males, especially MMA fighters, they're hugely competitive. And they're on the mat just practicing, and one of them is able to take one of them down. That can be a dent in your ego. And it takes a long time for you to get the environment that they're not getting upset by that instead they're finding that interesting, liberating, and experimenting in that position. I say, oh, well, that guy keeps getting me with that technique. I'll keep putting myself in that position. But to actually keep putting yourself in that miserable position and not only be physically dominated, but have your ego tortured, that is rare. It's very rare to get a young male that can do that. Now, what I've tried to do is create an atmosphere where we crave that, where we look for that. That if someone comes in and they're a very high level in one area, we keep going to that area. If you have a European judo champion come in, well, what's the point of just boxing them or just just rolling with them no gi or something like that? Go into their area and feel that turn of hips that only someone like that can do. So that when it does come to Saturday night and it's fight night, that no matter who we face, we have good experience of. You want to get good fast, get tapped a lot.
Well, I was always interested in learning how to fight, and I was interested in the truth of what that was, not a particular style or whatever. I just wanted to know what is the truth of actual hand-to-hand combat. I've always been interested solely in what works, and even if I wanted to, for example, for money, I don't think I could bring myself to teach something I didn't think was real. So I was constantly evolving, and jiu-jitsu, when it's done the right way, all functional martial arts, which by definition are arts which incorporate some form of competition, all those arts evolve, because competition forces evolution based on whatever the parameters are of the rules that you're training for. And we've seen it in jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu when I learned when I was a young white belt in my 20s was very different from the jiu-jitsu today.
I've seen a chart somewhere like the amount of techniques in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a gi is here, the amount of techniques when it's no gi is here, and then the amount of techniques in a fight is here. So it's kind of a narrow field of techniques that work in an MMA fight. Now, the narrow field of techniques that work in an MMA fight also work no gi, and they also work in the gi. But there is the same positions that happen in fights all the time. So let's look at those same positions. Now, in those positions, what have been the techniques you've seen work for most people most of the time? Not that many. And they're the ones that I hammer home on my guys. And I want it to be at the stage where when I start my single leg class with my fighters, they're going, here we go again, because I want it to be drilled into them. And I want my guys, if they're in and under over on the fence, this is not new to them. They're not figuring out what they should do on a Saturday night. We do that on a Tuesday afternoon here. And so that's been my approach to coaching for 10 years, and we're doing okay.
If I go to a school that's not an SBG school, that where I would say the epistemology is bad, the instructors are bad, you can tell right away because all the students on the mat are trying to do the same guard pass, the same sweep, the same setup that their coach showed them that week or that their coach does in competition. And they may still get people that they produce are good because it's just the volume. They'll have just like so many people flood through the school, but that's not what we do. So what we do is we focus on, like I said, the fundamentals on the posture and the pressure, and then when you do it that way, by the time somebody is a good black belt, which is usually for most people a dozen or so years in sport, they'll be completely different. So I've given out 13 black belts as of now, and no two are even similar, let alone the same.
If someone that joins my gym now and they see this and the Conor success, there's a path there that's being laid that they can say, oh well, if I achieve these goals, well then I'll have there's possibly a career in this. When I started more than 15 years ago, there was no career path in this, so I didn't in my head think, well, if I keep at this, it'll build into something. I just knew that I had to do it because I was addicted.
It takes time to build athletes and competitors. It takes a decade. It takes a decade and a half or whatever. And we're at the point now in our organization where you're starting to see the younger athletes come forward out of our locations who have the benefit of John Kavanagh's time and doing all this, and stepping out into the world, and people are starting to see what it is.
Like I've never projected, I've never thought a year from now or 5 years from now. I always think today. And today I taught a class on takedowns, and I tried to make it the absolute best class I could teach on takedowns. And when I do that, when I look after moment by moment, year by year, it takes care of itself. So whatever I'm doing, I try to give it everything. When I'm doing this interview, I try to give as best and as honest answers as I can. When I go out and take a picture or do my best pose. So whatever I do, I give it 100%, and I put maximum effort into it. And that seems to take care of the future.